Well, my name is Abdul Latif Busari. I'm the Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Council. Uh, I came into the National Sugar Council in 2004 as the Director, Planning, Research and Statistics, and grew up with the system to become the Executive Secretary by God's special grace in 2011. So here we are.
So let's look at this synopsis of Sugar Council, the mandate and mission.
Well, the vision of the National Sugar Development Council is to make Nigeria a notable player in the global sugar trade through harnessing our abundant human and material resources to achieve national self-sufficiency in sugar and surplus to export to earn foreign exchange. My own mission as the Executive Secretary is to ensure that we develop the sector on a sustainable basis to enable us achieve at least 70% self-sufficiency in the next 5 to 7 years. Now, the mandate of the Sugar Council at the inception, there were a number of objectives that for which the Sugar Council were established. One, we were to articulate policies and programs that would ensure the rapid, sustainable development of the sugar sector in Nigeria. We were to gradually reduce sugar importation by increasing local sugar production until we achieve self-sufficiency. Another objective was to reduce direct government involvement in sugar production while increasing private sector participation in sugar production. Then we have to also provide R&D backup that will catalyze development in the sugar industry. We have to set standards, measure performance of the various sugar industries, and generally, play both regulatory and facilitative roles to ensure that the sugar industry in Nigeria becomes viable and is able to, stand on its own. Well, if you are talking about the achievement of the council, I will say the way I approach that question really is you need inputs to get outputs. And one of the inputs is, of course, the mandate, what we are supposed to do. Another very critical input is the resources with which you will pursue the mandate to be able to now lead to outputs. And among the resources, not only funding. Funding is critical, of course, but you also talk of the human capital available in the council or in any organization. And then the enabling environment that allows both the human capital as well as the funding resources to express, to come together to be able to lead to positive outcomes. Given this definition, therefore, I believe that within the given the background of the inputs available to us, we have achieved, we have made modest achievement. I mentioned some of the mandates of council, which includes increasing private sector participation and reducing government direct involvement in sugar production. Today, no sugar industry in Nigeria is under direct government control. For all the ones that the government used to own have been privatized. So it's all in the private sector hands. We talked about generating employment. That's where we have been a little bit down because the existing sugar companies actually collapsed, and we have had to rethink the whole strategy of getting the sugar sector back on its feet. which led us to the formulation of the Sugar Master Plan. Don't forget also that I said one of our major mandates is to articulate policies and programs that will lead to the sustainable development of the sugar sector. In doing that, we have the master plan again as that policy. We have a number of policies in the past. Maybe we could talk about challenges in implementing them. But today, we have the master plan as that policy that we believe is the roadmap that will lead to the development, fast track the development of the sugar sector. So, besides the getting all the government out of the sugar industry and putting it right in the saddle of the public, private sector, we can also lay claim to the fact that we had a few investments that had come in terms of the sugar refinery. We have the sugar refinery by Dangote and Bua, which between the two of them have capacity for producing over 2.2 million metric tons of refined sugar. Again, a new sugar refinery is about to join. That's the Golden Sugar Refinery. That's bringing in another 750,000 metric tons of refined sugar. Indeed, we can say as of today that we have excess capacity, excess refining capacity for sugar in Nigeria. So these are some of the few achievements that one could lay valid claim to.
Yes, naturally, you walked into the next question, which is the sugar master plan.
Yes.
Let's look at the master plan. You briefly dissect the sugar master plan.
Okay, the country has had, or the council and the country have had a number of policies in the past. The last sugar policy was reviewed in 2003, and it has a number of core strategies that at that time we thought were designed to get Nigeria to achieve 70% self-sufficiency in sugar production. But that was 2003, and almost 10 years after, we are nowhere near that target. In fact, this became obvious by 2008, 2009, when the then president, the late President Umar Yar'Adua, directed that the Sugar Council should come up with a roadmap that will guide the development of the sugar sector and make it achieve national self-sufficiency. That was when the process for the development of the Nigerian Sugar Master Plan commenced. We completed the study in 2009, 2010, and took it to the Federal Executive Council. At the Federal Executive Council, it was referred to the Economic Management Implementation Team for the members of that team to make their own inputs. And you may not believe this, it took us the next 2 years to get the master plan back to the Federal Executive Council. But it's also good because it now allowed us as council to collate the views, the inputs of virtually all important and critical stakeholders in the sugar industries. It's not only the and in that period, we took the master plan on what we call the Sugar Forum, where we made the Nigerian Sugar Master Plan the theme of all the various fora that we were taking to the nook and crannies of Nigeria. We were having it in all the geopolitical zones. So we collated the views of all critical stakeholders and all the government agencies that have specific role to play in the implementation of the master plan. The Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Finance, National Planning Commission, even the Office of the Chief Economic Advisor, Ministry of Water Resources, the Ministry of Power, Ministry of Health. All of them had inputs into what today is the Nigerian Sugar Master Plan, which, by the way, was approved on September 19, 2011 at the Federal Executive Council meeting. Now, what are the key provisions of the master plan? We have 4 critical strategies or objectives, because we first lay down the objectives and then we now articulated strategies that will assist us to achieve those objectives. The four objectives: one is that to reduce sugar importation and increase local sugar production. To also, another objective is to generate huge number of employment opportunities for Nigerians. And then one of the objectives also is to generate, because sugarcane now is regarded more or less as an energy crop, to generate electricity and ethanol, especially fuel-grade ethanol from sugarcane. This is what is happening in other sugar-producing countries, and there is absolutely no reason why Nigeria should not be able to join the Committee of Nations where this is happening. And then we develop a number of strategies to achieve these objectives. One of them is the backward integration program. In Nigeria's recent history, the backward integration program was successfully implemented in the cement cement sector, which saw, local production from a little over 2 million metric tons in 2002 to some 28.2 million metric tons by the end of 2012. And the Ministry of Trade and Investment believes, and quite rightly so too, that we should be able to replicate this success in the cement sector in other critical industrial sectors of our economy, especially in the agro-processing ones, like the sugar, like textile, like like in the auto sector. So this is what, following up on that one, we have now come up with the backward integration program for the sugar sector, which requires that the refineries that I talked about already be required over the next 2-3 years to start sourcing the raw sugar they produce from their own local sugar estates, local backward integration projects, as it were. And they are given timelines within which they should achieve this. That's a core strategy. Another strategy that we came up with in the master plan is to benchmark the sugar raw imports that is allowed to these refineries on the local production they are able to put on the table. We've been talking about raw sugar importation, all along, and local sugar production. But this is the first time we are able to actually benchmark raw sugar importation on local sugar production. So we believe with that there is an incentive that will drive this process. And what are these incentives? Because those are some of the things that also the master plan, contain a master plan. First is that all sugar to sugarcane to sugar projects will attract 0% duty on all machineries. And then, of course, they also acquire the pioneer status, which means for the next 5 years they are on tax holiday. They will not be required to pay tax. There are a lot of other incentives, like we will support sugar investors with some funding facilities on machinery acquisition, sugar estates, field development, and